Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Hello, welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can continue this and any other conversation I ignite over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad, but you already know that, and my Vero at Big Mouth 1. And the extension of this channel is my Instagram, Big Mouth. Welcome to another Doctor Who video, and this was breaking this morning. I want you all to follow. I have no affiliation with this account over on Twitter, Doctor Who page. It really does give you up to the minute Doctor Who news. Now, I don't know where he or she got this from, but apparently these are proper quotes, so I'm going to read them to you. Breaking, Chris Chibnal confirms he is to continue being showrunner, and Series 13 is already in the works. So there's that. Let's see what he had to say. Asked about the rumours over his departure, Chibnall says, it's categorically untrue that I'm leaving. We're already planning the next series after this series. Please write this verbatim. Somebody made that up. It was a lie. It's 100% grade A. Shall I say nonsense or shall I say bullshit? I don't know how many times to say it. I swear on my life. He continued, last year was a recruiting year for the show, and I think we've managed to recruit some people for the show. That's exciting, and obviously we kept the existing audience and built on that, true. And I think this year we're developing that. So for all of the people who are new to Doctor Who, we are going to go look at the amazing world of Doctor Who. Look at all the treats that are in there. So we're building on last year. That kind of says to me, right, new people, we've introduced you to this, but we are literally going to be more focused on what Doctor Who's all about. Definitely a little course correction, which is good for, Doctor Who purists. There are a lot of new faces, a few old faces. There are some things trickling through which might be important. It's different. Very, very interesting. So he kind of says he's continuing from what he set up last year, but then he says it's different. Different to what? Last season or previous Doctor Who? We shall find out. So because this guy's got a lot of good stuff on this Twitter account, and we're going to read it because there's something that could be very divisive and controversial. But let's talk about this. He's not going anywhere. If these quotes are true, he will remain the showrunner. So what about all these rumours? Well, look, rumours are just rumours. There's so many people since season 11 who kind of thought, oh, this looks juicy. Let's all start YouTube channels and talk about the divisive nature of season 11 of Doctor Who. Basically, he's not leaving. It seems he's not leaving, and he's developing season 13 now. Now, what we don't know is Jodie Whittaker's future. Now, I've predicted on here, even on yesterday's Doctor Who show, that Jodie Whittaker would actually probably do a third series, then go. That's the tradition of New Who. Apart from Christopher Eccleston, who only did 1 year, as we all know. David did 3 seasons, which was 2, 3, and 4. Matt did 5, 6, and 7, and Peter did 8, 9, and 10. So I would think that they would absolutely want to persevere with Jodie Whittaker for at least season 13 as well. But who knows? He didn't mention her. He doesn't actually mention her, which is really interesting. But he is developing season 13. He is going to stay. This is going to make some people happy and an extraordinary amount of people very angry. I saw someone, call him a woke dude or something like that. It's not very nice. I don't think we need to go down to the avenues of name calling, because once we go down that avenue, our points and our arguments get lost. We have got to be very, very constructive with our criticism, or we just sound like a bunch of aggressive nutters who really don't know what we're talking about. Just my opinion. So he is staying. We don't have any power over this. All we can hope that he's speaking some truths there. He's saying he's building on what he did last year. I hope the show is more exciting and more epic. Listen, there's no question about it. Chris Chibnall is a very extreme left creative, and he likes to reflect those views on his work. Now, Here's where I stand. I'm fine with that, but you can't just do that. You've got to entertain the audience. It's got to be great Doctor Who. So if you give me identity politics with great Doctor Who, do whatever you like. Go for your life. But what I don't want to see is this situation where we're getting identity politics and men are being talked down about, but you're not actually trying to entertain us. You're not trying to keep Doctor Who fans, because apparently maybe that's not what you want. But actually, he made a really good point. He said they've kept the existing fans, brought new fans on board as well. The ratings would support this a little, especially with the second episode, The Ghost Monument. They kept a lot of the big audience they had from The Woman Who Fell to Earth. They did lose a bit, and ratings did fall, but then sometimes ratings will pop back up again. So, and of course, don't forget, we are dividing the ratings with BBC iPlayer kind of views and the actual live stuff as well. So I think ratings-wise, as I said, ratings isn't a good argument against season 11. It solidly did okay, but the New Year's Day special was the lowest special ratings we ever had since New Who. So that's interesting. But then I don't know the final iPlayer ones to say, well, it was New Year's Day, but then again, the Christmas specials always used to get better live views. But then you can counter that and say, when New Who first started, less people were watching on demand, weren't they? But normally, even with Stephen Moffat's, more people would come in and watch live. Look, the New Year's Day special wasn't great. It was another mediocre, mundane piece of fare, I'm afraid, and he has to do better. That's what I'm saying. People are arguing about the identity politics. It's not really my issue. You want to do that, that's fine, but you can't just say, look, here's a woman, here's this, we're going to talk about this, but not entertain the audience. You can't do that. This is entertainment. This is TV. Do what you want to do. Bring in your political points of view, but entertain us. Give us great Doctor Who, give us great sci-fi, and we'll come along on this ride with you, Chris. So there's that. So now we're going to look at what else he's got on here. Where are we? So here we are. A rumour. According to rumours, the opening to Series 12, airing New Year's Day, will reveal that William Hartnell was not the first Doctor, but was in fact the first of a second regeneration cycle, meaning there were 13 women, female incarnations before him. Again, very, 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 very. Now, this is what he says underneath that. This may fit with Chibnall's claims that the opener to Series 12 is the biggest episode in the show's history, and we may possibly get a glimpse of these 13 female Doctors in the episode, if rumours are true. Wow, now that is going to be really, really divisive. But you know what? To my surprise, that doesn't trigger me. That kind of excites me. Why couldn't there have been 13 other female Doctors? You're saying, but why? Oh yeah, all of a sudden there's females. And does it matter? Now, this is his politics and his identity politics he's trying to put within Doctor Who. But if he actually creates something interesting, I'm actually intrigued. How is this? How was there a first cycle of female Doctors? Now, look, Doctor Who purists are not going to like it. Doctor Who purists won't like it, first of all, with him saying that William Hartnell, in fact, isn't the first Doctor. This is going to offend a lot of Doctor Who purists. But what I like about it is it does get this conversation going, doesn't it? So my opinion of this is, yes, it's filtered with identity politics. There is no question about that. But as I said to Star Wars fans on the Star Wars show yesterday, what are you going to do? Are you constantly going to get mad? Or are you going to take things for what they are and enjoy Star Wars? And it's the same with Doctor Who. Yes, I understand what Chibnall is doing here, and it could be really triggering. I think this is a true rumour, by the way. I think this is a true rumour. What I think it does, and I know a lot of you purists are not going to agree with me, I think it expands It expands the Doctor Who franchise. It makes it a lot interesting. And you know what you could do? You could do Doctor Who spin-offs about these individual female doctors. You could bring great female actors on board to do this. You could have that show, and you could do. There's so many things that you can do. And in a way, even though Chibnall is putting his identity politics right into the forefront, he's also creating something interesting. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to be interesting, if you're going to create a conversation, even if you put your identity politics forward, I'm okay with that. But don't put identity politics as your only thing, and you haven't got a plan B or a plan C. At least with this, it sounds kind of interesting. So what else? What else? Let's see if he's got anything else here. Yes, now, this is where he got this. This is where he got this. This is from the Radio Times, right? So we're going to read this. We're going to read this out because we are really getting close to Doctor Who season 12. So I'm really going to be focusing on it. This channel will obviously first and foremost deal with the DCEU, the release of the Snyder Cut, hopefully. But Doctor Who is a passion of mine, and we're really going to start talking about it. Chris Chibnall says rumours of his Doctor Who exit. Okay, hang on. Doctor Who exit are a lie and 100% grade A bullshit. Now, YouTube, this is Chris saying it. Blame him, not me. The series showrunner has rubbish rumours that he's eyeing an exit from the BBC Sci-Fi Classic. So this is what's going on. Probably going to reiterate a lot of what I've already read, but let's see. This is a proper good source, isn't it? Remember those rumours that Doctor Who boss Chris Chibnall or Jodie Whittaker were leaving the sci-fi series? Well, Chibnall has now come out with a fairly robust rebuttal of the story, describing it as a lie that was just cooked up by social media. I think it's obvious that now that he's speaking out, it was cooked up. I mean, you've got to be a bit more expansive, Chris, and say cooked up by social media. There's certain people with an agenda who don't like you, don't like your politics, don't like the fact that you cast a female doctor, especially someone who seems to be a friend of yours as well. But it does look like it wasn't true. But I think I'll talk about this. I think there's an element of truth, but things have changed now. We'll talk about that. Please write this verbatim. Somebody made that up. It was a lie, Chibnall told Radio Times and other journalists on the Cardiff set of Doctor Who. It's 100% grade A. Shall I say nonsense or shall I say bullshit? I don't know how many times to say it. I swear on my life. So nothing that work had actually already begun planning the series after the next one. That's series 13. If you're counting Chibnall and his leading lady, Jodie Whittaker, went to discuss other false rumours that had sprung up during filming, nothing that you can't believe, everything you read online, unless you're on Radio Times, of course. Apparently, everyone shut down filming because I was pregnant, laughed Whittaker. Yeah, that was one, wasn't it? That was one, yeah. My go-to reaction is always, has that happened? Am I pregnant because Twitter says I was? I'm not on social media, added Christian, but so far these social media resources probably not very on the mark. Instead, fans will just have to wait until series begins in a few weeks to find out exactly what's been going on behind the scenes. Though, if it turns out there are another Doctor's Daughter storyline coming along, well, you heard it here first. So that is the truth. Let's see if there's anything more juicy than this. But it doesn't look like it. I think that's all we get. I think that's all we need to read. So we need to discuss this. Was Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker ever leaving? I think after season 11, BBC America and BBC Worldwide weren't impressed with the divisive nature of what was going on. They didn't see this coming because this is TV and film. Networks and studios just don't get it. They don't understand us. They don't understand our mentalities. They believe they'll feed us something and we'll calm down like good little boys and girls and accept it. And what basically Doctor Who season 11 is Star Wars The Last Jedi for Doctor Who. It's that divisive, right? So I think when the BBC looked at it, they probably went to him and said, listen, Chris, you've got to give us a lot more than this. And, you know, as I've just said, if you want to feed identity politics into it, that's fine. But you didn't really give the audience anything. No arc, no rich storytelling, no development for the Doctor. We don't really know what this Doctor stands for. You didn't develop really your companions either. They just seem to stand there most of the time. And although they seemed kind of okay, there wasn't anything there for us to get our teeth into. The dynamic between the companions and the Doctor wasn't really strong, like in past New Who. So I think when they looked at all of that, they probably said, right, look, Chris, we want you to do A, B, and C. Definitely an arc, definitely flesh out your Doctor and her companions. And I think certain elements, there was probably a power struggle between between Chris Chibnal and the BBC. Maybe he threatened to leave just to get what he wants. I think what's happened here is this. 50% of the BBC have gotten a course correction on what they want. They want more kind of Doctor Who. They want it to be Doctor Who. And Chibnall probably got his own way on certain things as well. So you probably will see more of a course correction. So I think there is elements of truth that maybe Chris did consider leaving. I think things were very difficult after season 11, and no company and no showrunner are just going to shrug their shoulders after that divisive reaction. Look, I'm not going to judge season 12 or Chris until I've seen it. Season 11, I've said what I think. First 3 episodes are great, and then it became very mundane and mediocre, very similar to how I feel about The Last Jedi. And I just think that we're getting a new season now. There's clearly been a course correction. Really funny what Jodie said about apparently, according to Twitter, I'm pregnant. That was a funny rumour, actually. I did read that. That was insane. Or she was going to quit because she was pregnant. There was that as well. So there's lots. Look, they're making fun of us. They're making fun of us, which is their priority, because we've been making fun of them. We've been having the banter on Twitter. You can't expect them just to sit there and say nothing. If we're going to give it, we've got to take it, because they have to take it too. It's a relationship. We didn't like most of season 11. Some of us, most of us, who knows, half of us. But it is what it is. It's done. I'm definitely going to go and rewatch it because we're building up. I might actually rewatch the whole of New Who, starting with that Paul McGann special during the anniversary, where you see him before he regenerates into John Hurt. Because really, that should come first in your rewatch before you watch the episode of Rose. So I may do that if I get the time and not do all these videos. But what do you think of all this? Chris Chibnall is going nowhere. He's going to be running Doctor Who, at least for Series 13. We know nothing about Jodie Whittaker. He hasn't said anything about her or her future. That's interesting. I still think she'll be involved with Season 13, but I could be wrong. What do you think about what Chris Chibnall's been saying about the future of Doctor Who? Please comment down below. This is where I am now. I'm kind of more confident about Season 12 than I was after I finished watching Season 11. So I'm kind of excited for the future of Doctor Who. I do think having these previous regenerations before Hartnell is interesting. It's a mixture, as I say, of identity politics, representation, and something new and very interesting for the future of Doctor Who.